We are the creators of reality. Those who have mastered perseverance, those who thrive despite attempts to thwart us, those who make magic at the root of the very trees they hung us from. We are the mountains and the rivers. We are the sun and the moon. We are sand and gems. We are the first and the final. We be big and small. We be light and dark. We be seasoned and youthful. We be sensual and sacred. Those gifted and divine. Those powerful and radical. Those vibrant and ancestral. We are the creators of reality. We are the Black Oasis. All right. Welcome to the Black Oasis podcast. I'm your host, Kaya Supreme. This is the place where we lay it all down. Today's guest is slick genius, brilliant. Like, I don't know if anyone has met a high functioning person, right? And I just started working in higher ed, and so now I'm surrounded by them. But as soon as I met people in my office, the first person I thought of was Tiara. I have never seen someone so committed, so dedicated, so consistent, and yet also so kind, sweet, willing, beautiful. I mean, she's stunning, right? but she is brilliant, literally brilliant. And I'm just so glad today to have her on, to have the honor to interview her, to highlight, affirm, showcase, love, and celebrate her with you all today. So please, without further ado, welcome the phenomenal, the divine, the stunning, the brilliant Tiara.
Oh my gosh. What an intro.
Welcome. So, how you be today?
Oh, I am well. Yeah, I am a little bit tired, but what else is new?
Right.
But well, and it's a pretty chill day that I have ahead of me, so I'm excited about that.
Okay, good.
Deserved.
Yeah, good. We always need that balance because we
Yes.
can't go and not rest. But why don't you just tell people a little bit about yourself? Where are you from? Who is Tiara?
Yes, absolutely. So my name is Tiara LeCardinay, also known as Abebi, from the wonderful nation of Ndulu and Nzinga. I am from East Oakland, California. Shout out to the Bay, but I really grew up all over the Bay Area for real. So shout out to the West Side. Yeah, I'm trying to think what else. What else? I always think to go straight to my career, and I'm trying to stop doing that. But yeah, I moved to Atlanta about 7 years ago, and I've been learning more about exactly who I am ever since. It's been a beautiful journey. So
that's right. That's right. And so you mentioned the name Abebi. Why don't you tell us what that means?
Yes, Abebi means we asked for her and she came. Yeah. So I think that's a big part of my journey ongoing, is figuring out more about exactly what that means, right? Like, who was it that asked for me? And where did they ask? Like, who did they ask for me? And how did I know in order to just kind of show up? And so when I was given that name, it was a trip. The thing that stood out to me most was the fact that, like, when I say it, I say we, which the emphasis was on, like, I asked for myself. Yeah. And so that, I guess I'm learning more about that in my career. I'm a clinical mental health counselor, and the more I grow in my profession, the more I understand that I am in so many ways the adult that, like, I needed in my life growing up. So yeah, it's pretty special.
Yeah, it is special. And I mean, we always internalize, it's important to always internalize one's name in African tradition, especially because spiritually it's kind of like a window into our spiritual contract. And so when I first heard your name, I was like, ooh, I wonder, like how is this personal? Because it does sound and come across so communal, You know what I mean? But I know the purpose of your life is not simply to show up for others. And so I'm glad to hear you say, hear you thinking and pondering about how it applies to you. And, you asked for yourself and you showed up for yourself. And
Crazy.
that's revolutionary. As a Black woman, to be able to ask for oneself and show up for oneself,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Because we sustain so many things in so many other spaces, to show up for oneself first, for what I need first. I think, praise be to God. So, and so you moved to Atlanta, you're from the Bay. I did not know that. I don't think the Bay, first of all, the Bay has some sort of flavor that like, y'all go hard. Like, I don't think I've quite seen like just such boldness. Like it's like that New York City boldness, but like with Cali swag. It's serious.
Oh, absolutely. That's the perfect way to describe it.
Yeah, like
Perfect.
anyone from the Bay, like, yeah, I'm from the Bay.
All
and
day.
they go off. So I know that you don't want to get into your career too much. However, I love that about you, and I am fighting to follow in those footsteps because I want your job one day. So, and so, okay, I was gonna do like a big reveal, that about your next steps. But I'm so excited. And so, you guys, Tiara is going back to my hometown.
Ow, ow.
A PhD program. Look at how all these. She got accepted to Howard University, and I'm gonna tell you this. This is what I know. As far as psychology programs go, Black psychology programs go, HU is number one. Top of the line. And so I know you have to be an excellent candidate to have gotten accepted. Please tell us about this process of getting into this PhD program.
Yes. And I'll clarify, I have no problem with going into the career. I'm trying to get better at not leading with who I am is my career, because I'm so much more than that. But it's a big part of it. So I don't mind at all. Oh my goodness. So actually a trip, because 7 years ago, I had no idea. Like, I would have laughed so hard in my face if you would have told me that like this was where I would be and this is where I'd be going. And so as far as the process, it's been a surprise to me every step of the way, for real. I graduated from the illustrious Clark Atlanta University in 2019, and I had jobs. So when I came out here, I just wanted a degree. Like, I literally came out here, I was like, I'm going to a HBCU. I'm studying psychology because it's interesting, and it asks a lot of those questions that I've always asked and never knew that there were actually answers to. And I was super excited about that. Messed around, fell in love. I'm a simp. But my plan was to graduate and to go back to Cali. And I had several job offers back in California when I graduated. I had job offers actually all over. I had job offers in New York, in South Africa, in like LA, like all over the place, except for Georgia. But my simp self, I turned them all down and got a job working for one of my favorite professors as a nanny, so that I could stay in Georgia.
Listen,
so that I could.
The heart wants the heart one.
Listen, that right there. And so I, while I was working as a nanny, my professor also just so happened to own a private practice. He's a psychologist. And so
shout out to Dr. Kanika Bell. Okay.
Out. Yes. And so I was working, taking care of her beautiful baby, and I started like working a little bit more at her practice, just helping her out. And I started connecting with other therapists in her practice, who ultimately inspired me to apply for the master's program that I had no idea existed literally just months before that. And so I applied, got in. Fast forward to December of last year, graduated with my master's. Now I'm a whole clinical mental health counselor. Couldn't have told me. Yeah, wild. So
it's a blessing. It sounds like divine order to me.
It's wild. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
And so like but embarking upon the transition from master's to PhD requires
whew,
work, and so have you managed that work? You have a full social life, we sing in the choir together. I know
yes.
I'm legit, like
Shout
you
out
be doing,
MVP.
I ain't talk about how your leg was broke for like 2 years. Like,
Girl,
used to be
it
the first one on campus with that broke leg, that broke foot, warrior training, everything.
yes. Oh goodness. Okay, so the transition. So when I was in my internship, which is my final year of my master's program, I of course went right back to Dr. Bell because, excellence. And we were talking about PhD programs because there's so, like, being at master's level, it opened up a lot of doors for me career wise, but I don't want limitations. I don't want the glass ceiling. And so I was like PhD all the way. And it just, that kind of opened up those final doors of the very specific things that I want to be able to do in my career. And so at first I was like, yeah, I'm gonna apply to like 10 schools because my or PhD programs are so hard to get into, yada yada yada. I applied to one. I applied to one. That application process alone
Yeah,
almost took me out.
yeah.
Like the application to get it. First of all, I'm convinced that they literally just created like that just to weed out people
Mm-hmm.
because the application into a PhD process is hazing alone, like that itself.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I actually I went up to Howard because I went to a PWI for my master's program, and I was like, look, if school is going to be ghetto regardless, I might as well be with my people. So I went up and toured Howard, which is one of, I think, either 3 or 5 HBCUs that actually has an APA accredited PhD program in my study. So went up and toured, and I just fell in love. The whole thing was like, it was a crazy story, but everything was so aligned for me to be able to actually get a tour by the chair of my department on the day that the campus was actually closed for mental health day, and she just so happened to be coming up because she had left something the day before. Like it was, yeah, it was literally. I'm trying to tell you,
Listen.
the whole thing was just like, yeah, I was absolutely supposed to be here, and so I was like, I'm gonna just apply to this one school, and if I don't get in, we're gonna figure out what we're gonna figure out next year to get this application together because I'm going to Howard. Um, so I was talking to my Fundi and she gave me an assignment. My Fundi is well, a mentor that you're given when you're on a journey in the nation of Madugu and Zinga. And she gave me an assignment to reach out to a collective of people who would receive PhDs and to just get advice on what that transition looks like, how to prepare and all those things. And one of the biggest things that I heard was like, get your discipline in order. And so, yeah, I've been doing really, really well. I have this app called the Good Habits List, and I have 7 things on there. And every single day, I knock off something. Every single day, I have to check off everything on the list. Otherwise, I start over. And so, yeah, I've been working on that. I've been every day. I try to use Howard's, what's it called? Library system to start getting my skill back up when it comes to researching and reading academic level paperwork and things of that nature, like just things that I'm interested in for now, so that it keeps the pull and the motivation. But this steady trying to continue to stay in the mindset of like, it's not over. Yes, rest because you're out of that master's program, but don't lose yourself because it
Yeah.
was a major curve just going from undergrad to graduate level. So going from like not being in school to PhD level, I was not trying to deal with that battle. So yeah.
Listen. Well, you have it. I mean, you have demonstrated your excellence, your discipline, your standard. I'm always in awe. Listen, not a doubt in my mind. If you're not there, it's because you absolutely cannot be present.
Mm,
It's not even a mention or a worry of anything else. And
for
so
sure.
I mean, I just love that about you. I respect that about you. And I just send you so much love on your journey. You are going to love DC. You are going to love HU. It's going
Ooh,
to be great. I grew up right there.
yes.
Literally walked to Howard for church every Sunday. Shout out to
Oh,
my sister who's a HU grad. And so, you know, I'm just sending you lots of love. And of course, we'll talk and I'll be happy to shoot you people,
yes,
all those good
please.
things. Absolutely. So let's talk about just transition, journey, transformation, right? How do you think you've changed from the beginning of your journey here to Atlanta to now leaving? How have you
Oh
grown?
my gosh.
Let's talk
Oh
about
my goodness. Oh gosh. I'm literally not the same person. Like I am not the same individual. And I think it's so spiritually divine that it's been 7 years. Seven is the number of completion. And I moved here as like a young 21-year-old, just bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, like, oh my gosh, HBCU. Mind you, I had just learned that HBCUs existed two
wow.
years before I moved, or not even, because I found out on the trip to Texas in 2015. I moved out here August of 2016, so a year before. And I was just like, yay, Black people who like do something more than like sell drugs, do sports, rap, and die early. Like literally, that was my mind.
Cannot. I mean, there's a
um,
lot of people's perceptions. It is.
yeah.
Mhm.
And so like the idea that Black excellence existed alone was fresh to me. So to come out here and be like, first of all, every one of these Black folk up in here got a doctor title. Like, what is this? And like, really, especially, and I have to shout out, she's literally one of my favorite people on the planet Earth, Dr. Kamika Danya, Ife Tayo, Olamaroti, Bamidele, Bell. Like,
Wow.
the magnificence of that woman, like, and being able to be so close under her. Like I honestly feel like in the introduction I kind of sleep on it a little bit, but being able to be up under her really showed me like I could do this. Like
Yeah.
being able to, and she's again just the most incredible woman. She's so vulnerable and transparent and just fully authentic, and like it makes the magnificence that she is human. And it really
Infectious.
makes it, yes, it really makes it like, oh wow, like anybody could like really reach you. And I remember saying to her in undergrad, like, I want to be you when I grow up. And now here I am, literally
On your
following in
way.
her footsteps.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
but yeah, it's really the biggest thing has really been just like seeing more of myself for the amazing, incredible person that I am, and like being willing to acknowledge and even honor like my heart and my goals and my dreams and the power that I have to actually make a difference in this world is crazy. And again, if you'd have told me any of the dreams that I have now 7 years ago, I literally would have laughed in your face. I was that girl that was like, yeah, all I want to do is have kids, which is still the case. That's still, family is always still number one for me. But I was literally like, I could literally have a job as like a secretary somewhere. As long as I'm, let me say this, as long as I'm off early on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Those would be the days that my kids don't go to daycare and I pick them up and I get to make them
Landed.
lunch and take them to the, like, that was my mindset. It was like, everything, like, I don't think there's anything wrong with how I was thinking. I think it was just, I was missing the fact that I could also have a life too. Like,
Yeah.
my entire being didn't have to revolve around taking care of someone outside of myself. And so yeah, that has been my journey. That was my biggest struggle on the journey, was learning how to acknowledge like I matter too, and the things that I give to everybody else, like how can I figure out how to give that to me, because I would always be disappointed and feeling like, well, I give it to everybody else, so the expectation is that, I mean, between all the other people that I take care of, you would have thought that I was getting back, a combined version of like what I give out, and that wasn't the case. So there's something so specific about the love that I give, the care that I give, the nurturing that I give, the healing that I have, that only I can give. And so to expect that from other people was only leaving me disappointed. And so learning how to provide that and to offer that and to cherish that for myself, it has been the biggest transformation, I think.
Wow. Wow. Girl, go off. And I mean, really, it is a beauty. and a privilege to be able to have such powerful elders, to have such a fantastic elder, you know what I'm saying, on your team, on your side that you get to walk with. I mean, you know, as far as Ndugu Nzinga is concerned, I know that when I started, I used to look at walking with eldership in a very like structured and robotic way. Like, you know, I was going to make sure I called everybody and make sure I walked with everybody. But it wasn't until years later that I really started to feel the connection of relationship. And I'm a walking testimony of when you have people who've gone before you to help pave the way, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm the big sister, so I always feel like the way sister. But when you have other people in front of you, especially shout out to all my Nzinga Black women, you know, there's really nothing like it. I could like both the jobs I have right now from my Nzinga sisters, you know, like it's just like, I mean, really, everything that's fallen into my lap, the way my life is a whole complete turnaround is because of the black women in my life and the eldership. And so thank you for vocalizing that, because I do think, you know, you're telling me, and where I'm recapping, you came from not even being aware of what Black excellence was to now being Black excellence. And so thank you for allowing other people to mold, shape, and take your sight and your dream and show you that it's bigger than what you could have imagined. So thank you, because it requires humility, because you could have walked up and been like, who said what? I'm not doing none of that, you know. And so, you know, your willingness has made room for you. So how are you going to manage your relationship? Because, you know, you said you boo love it. How are you about to do this relationship, girl?
Yes. Oh, the questions. So great question. Honestly, if I'm being completely honest, I don't know the answer to that question. I've been seeking wisdom. I have prayed about it. I have cried about it. And we have talked endlessly about what it's going to look like. And the truth is, we still don't know, because you never know what to expect. And I have learned my lesson in trying to control it.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's not the how, it's just the that. It's that we gonna make it work. It's that we gonna figure it out.
That's right.
How? Who knows? Who cares at this point? Because it's as soon as I try to say something, my spirit laughs at me and says, "Okay, bet." Want to bet?
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's our story is like, honestly, I don't know that I've ever heard that. I don't know that you hear people say this often, but like, if I can be honest, our story is one of my favorite love stories. I have been so intentional from meeting this beautiful man to literally yesterday, just us like cuddling up to go to bed last night. Like, and like I moved to Atlanta at 21 years old. I hadn't had my first kiss. Like, I was just so new to the idea of love, because I wasn't new to the idea of love. I was new to the idea that like love could look like this. But I had a feeling. And so I had made a decision, like, I don't have any exes and I plan to keep it that way. Like, and so it took us, it took us 4 years to really get it together. Like, we were figuring life out in the first like year or so, and then we decided, like, let's just be best friends. We were best friends for 2 years, before we even brought back up the concept of like actually dating again. And then we dated on and off for like a couple of years, just learning each other, figuring each other out. And then finally in 2020, like, I said that very thing to him. I was like, you know me, and you know that I don't have any exes and I plan to keep it that way. And so he had asked me to be with him 3 times before I finally said yes. And the answer was never no. It was just, make sure you're ready.
Right.
So yeah. And so we made that commitment September 24th, 2020. And that's been what we've been falling back on. Like, it's not a let's try it and see what happens. It's not a, like, let's, play with it. It's a, we made this commitment and we're here, and whatever we need to shift and adjust and learn and grow in order to make it work, that's what we're going to do. So that's still applies.
some mature stuff right there. Shout out. No, for real. I mean, I think it's beautiful, and I love to be for you to say, it's one of my favorite love stories. I want to watch the movie when you let it out, and when it's time, I'll be in the theater with my popcorn.
It's around here somewhere. It was funny. We were playing this couples game, this card game, and one of the questions that we asked was like, if your story was a Netflix series, like what would the title be called? And like what would the title of this chapter be called, or this episode specifically? And I took that and ran with it, and I literally wrote out like a 2-page long like titles for each episode, and like what time span each episode would cover and stuff. The way that we're gonna just wait on it, the way that that's gonna do is because folks, we've asked so many people and they're like, please, because all of our friends who have like, grown up with us and with this relationship, they still have no idea what the heck is going on, like every step of the way. So yeah, it'll be out at some point in time, whether book, Netflix series, movie, all of the above. Y'all gonna see this.
That's beautiful. Shout out to Black Love. So I ask everyone who comes on the show this question, and I am excited to hear your answer. If you could have one wish for Black people, one wish, go to sleep, wake up tomorrow, and it is so, what would it be?
Freedom, like genuine freedom. And I say that because all of the other things that anybody could ever wish for positively for Black people, we have it. We just don't have access to it. And so like the love, the health, the ability to learn from our past, the ability to grow, the ability to heal, the ability to sustain, like all of those things we have, and we've shown it and we've proven it time and time again. It's just a matter of being able to have full access to it. And the second that we are freed of all of the different types of imprisonments that we have been chained under, just the world, the way that the world will look so completely different. And so if I could, yeah, have one wish, that would be it. Freedom of the mind, freedom of the body, freedom of these toxins, freedom of the chaos and the hatred, all of these things that we're imprisoned by. True freedom would take off, and nobody wouldn't even really know what happened, because you wouldn't be able to recognize us or the entire world, because we've never been a people to be like, oh, it's just us. Like the way that we would put each and every single person on our backs and carry them to that freedom of like love and just optimization with us.
That's so true. That's so true. Because we already lead the world creatively.
Period.
Run down the list. We really truly do. Although I know that's not necessarily the narrative, but it's the facts. And and
we're doing that in shackles.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And that's the gag.
To be done, centered in health and wellness and knowledge of our history and empowered. Yeah, but you know what? Our entire universe would benefit, and you said it best. Our entire universe would benefit greatly, and the world would follow suit, because they already follow. So I want that one. I double down on that. I say ancestors, make it so, please.
Yes.
And thank you, and I also thank you to our ancestors for all the places that is happening, and all the places where you're living proof, I'm living proof of people fighting for getting free and living free. So shout out to you, shout out to your process. I love you. Thank you so much for coming on here. I mean, like, chef's kiss all around. Chef's kiss all around. And shout out to your boo too, because that's a Black man loving a Black woman and a Black woman loving a Black man. And I love to see it. I'm here for it.
AUC love all day.
Yes, AUC love. Ooh, maybe movie title? We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. But yes, thank you for being here. Sending you off with such love, sending you off with just, if I could just bottle up all my energy and force and just put it in one of your bags, I want you to have that and just bust out into DC and live your life and change the world and save the rest of our minds.
Yes.
And cleanse us. Just pave the way, blaze those trails. You got this. You have everything you need and more. You are divine. You are phenomenal. Keep on keeping on. Because listen,
that.
they asked for you and you showed up and you about to be in the city, child. You're about to be in the city. So thank you.
And I'm gonna be calling you.
Please. Text anytime.
We definitely need, we're long overdue. Long overdue. So
yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna text you when this is, as soon as we get it, we'll solidify something. But thank you to everyone who supports and watches Black Oasis. Please continue to like, subscribe, share. If you have not already, you can find us on YouTube at Black Oasis. You got to write that at Black Oasis. But thank you all for watching. And until next time, stay Black, but you don't really have a choice. And lucky.
Right.